Hi there, I'm Jack Van Ryn, Mayor of the Town of Coaldale. I will be giving you a brief from our regular council meeting that was held on Monday, November 28th, 2022. And as part of our meeting, we had two public hearings. The first one was regarding land use bylaw text amendment for bylaw 859-P-11-22, and we had our Director of Growth and Investment, Cameron Mills, present. And this was to pass second and third reading regarding solar collectors or solar panels, both in the residential areas and also in commercial areas. So both readings were passed last night, so the bylaw will be amended. And for residential solar collectors, you can put in solar panels if you like on your roof or on the walls of your house or on your property, but it won't be able to exceed more than 10% of your lot coverage. On the commercial side, the use is defined as non-residential and located in non-residential zoning districts and is either roof or wall mounted and or freestanding as well, but it cannot exceed 300 square feet of surface area. So that bylaw amendment was passed at our meeting. The second public hearing was to do with a land rezoning bylaw 858-P-10-22, and that was to rezone from urban reserve to direct control. And the property in question is a residential acreage within the recently annexed lands located to the north of Highway 3 along 18th Avenue. The property has been purchased with the intention of redeveloping the site to accommodate a single-story office building in addition to a greenhouse and community garden, as reflected in the development application 2022-127. Because the proposal is for rezoning to direct control, which transfers decision-making from the authority on the applications to council, this public hearing serves the dual function of consideration of the question of zoning in addition to consideration of the application for the development permit itself. So basically, with it being under direct control, it comes straight to council, any of the projects that's going to be going on that particular parcel of land. And the applicant, whatever they propose to put there, in this case, a single-story office building, council has to approve every aspect of it. So we can even insist on what color the siding has to be or what color the roof shingles have to be. That's the kind of control we would have over that application. And that is to make sure that what the intent of the project is what is ultimately completed. So we had a long public hearing regarding that. We had residents that live close to the property in question. So then we had everybody speak for or against the rezoning application. And ultimately the rezoning application was passed. Second and third readings were given at our meeting. Then we had under new business, we had Dustin Yankee, our manager of infrastructure. He had a ACP grant application for Lethbridge County and the town of Coaldale regarding the regional water supply study that we need to get done. And that is regarding two items. It's a $200,000 grant. And what we're looking at doing is right now, Coaldale gets its water from the city of Lethbridge. And when the pipeline comes to Coaldale, there's a pressure reducing station just on the west boundary of 18th Avenue of Coaldale. And then the water comes in through Coaldale's existing infrastructure goes through our water plant, and then it gets distributed throughout all of Coaldale. Then it continues on to McCain's, that's east of Coaldale, for their McCain Foods, where they process potatoes, and they get their water from Lethbridge as well, and it comes through Coaldale's infrastructure before continuing on to McCain's. And McCain's is looking at doing some expansions, and we're having some issues now with during the summer months with our water supply, so that when people are using their irrigation, and McCain's is using the water as well, with it going through our infrastructure, it creates some pressure issues where all of a sudden when they're doing something at McCain's, it drops our water pressure in Coaldale. And it's something that we need to look after. So this grant will be a study on the possibility of Coaldale putting a bypass line in. So instead of McCain's water coming through Coaldale's infrastructure, the pipeline will continue straight to McCain's from Lethbridge, and then Coaldale will tap into that for its needs. So that's one aspect of the application. The other one is that Coaldale is looking at putting in another underground water reservoir for potable water. So we currently have a smaller one behind the Sportsplex by the Cenotaph. There's a underground water reservoir, and we need to put in quite a larger one, I should say, just west of Coaldale, so that we can have enough water storage, water capacity. The big reason is for firefighting purposes, and to make sure that for domestic water use that we always have enough backup supply. So that application was presented by Dustin Yankee, and council approved basically the motion said that council directs administration to partner with Lethbridge County to submit a funding application under the Alberta Community Partnership Program to complete a Lethbridge County Coaldale Regional Water Study, and that's for a $200,000 grant. And then Dustin also presented on another similar grant, and this one had to do with the MD at Taber. They're also looking at doing one, and the request was that council give consideration to passing a resolution of support for the MD of Taber's application under the Alberta Community Partnership Program for the Highway 3 Corridor Regional Water Supply Study project that they are embarking on with municipalities of Taber, Lethbridge County, and Coaldale. And our engineering firm, MPE, suggested that because the town of Coaldale and Lethbridge County are making application under the ACP program as well for a water distribution study that I just explained, at the same time that the MD is doing an application, that we should endorse each other's application because the findings could be relevant for one another. It also signals to the province that we aren't competing, but rather co-supporting each other's application. Then back to the public hearings. The public hearing, the first one I spoke of regarding the solar panels, we have to break the decision-making process out of the public hearing. So like I mentioned earlier, second and third reading was passed regarding the solar collector panels, I should say, in both residential and commercial areas. So second and third reading was passed for that. And then we also passed the rezoning that I spoke of, and for that parcel land on 18th Avenue. And then we had the same project come up again, the development application, and that was regarding a office building that is being proposed under development permit application 2022-127 for the construction of an office, greenhouse, and community garden that was submitted by Ryan Casco. And what Casco's plan on doing is building a single-story office building just east of Boss Sod in those urban reserve country residential areas. And the second property from the west got rezoned to under direct control, and the development permit was approved last night for the construction of the office building. And then we had under departmental reports, we had Coaldale and District Emergency Services do a presentation on their quarterly stats up until the end of September. And basically our chief gave an excellent report on what's been going on in Coaldale and Lethbridge County. So for instance, the 5-year call totals for Coaldale and Lethbridge County on the fire side, we're at 191 calls to date to the end of September, and then 295 medical calls for a total of 487 calls in 2022 to the end of September. In all of 2021, we had 544, 2020, 466, 2019, 420, and 2018, 392 call-outs. So as you can see, our department is getting extremely busy. So we also talked about the medical calls within the town of Coaldale. We did a total of 345 to date. 34% of those were fire, and 66% of those were medical calls. And when I say medical calls, that's when our fire department personnel back up Alberta Health Services ambulances. So if they get a Delta call or an Echo call, in other words, life-threatening, our fire department automatically responds to those calls as well. And if for whatever reason there's no ambulance available, then our fire department goes there and provides initial first aid until the ambulance arrives. And speaking of when there's no ambulance available in Coaldale, to date in 2022, up until the end of September, we've had 65 times when someone's called for an ambulance and there hasn't been one available. So our fire department has to come out and provide initial care until the ambulance arrives. Then we had Mark Anderson. He gave us his Q3 report, and Mark is the manager of community policing. And basically he just gave us updates on the types of calls, unsightly properties, animal control, and he broke it down. And also regarding traditional traffic enforcement. And what I'm going to do, there's so many statistics here that I'm not going to mention them all now. In the comments section of my presentation today, I'll have a link where you can go to the agenda package, and every topic that I'm speaking on, there'll be an opportunity for you to look at it further in depth. Then under information items, we had a letter from the provincial government regarding the Municipal Accountability Program, or also referred to as the MAP program, and Coaldale has completed that. And the town of Coaldale's administration staff is actually commended by the provincial government for doing it in such a timely fashion, and they did the review, and like, it was an excellent job what they did. And then we also had our Q2 report regarding community policing from our Staff Sergeant Mike Newman. And I'll also have that in the comment section as well, so you can look at those statistics. And then at a future council meeting, we'll have Staff Sergeant Newman come and present on that as well. And basically, what's important is that if you have any questions about any of these items that I brought up, I'll have my contact information at the end of this video, my email address, my phone number. I please encourage that you reach out to me with any questions, concerns, And the same goes for the rest of council. All of us are available, and we look forward to hearing from our residents. So if you see any of us on the street, stop us, ask us questions, invite us out for a coffee, and we can talk about anything and everything. So that's everything I have for today. Have yourself a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye.